Hello, 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 everyone. Come on into the webinar. My name is Linda Peavy, and I am going to be your host for this afternoon, where we are going to talk about grant writing for women-owned businesses. Whether you have a for-profit or a nonprofit, we are going to teach you how to get the bag today. I am in Ohio, so come on and give yourself a shout out. Let me see who's with me. Say hello to me as you come into the room. Again, my name is Linda Peavy, and I am going to be your host for this afternoon. Hey, Oshandra, Angela. Mikhail is coming from Georgia. Victoria McNeil, hey, Toledo. I used to live in Toledo for about 3 years. Hey, Florida, look, I am not complaining. I'm in Northeast Ohio, right? I'm outside of Cleveland, where those of you who know anything about Ohio, especially the Cleveland area, know that it could be 100 degrees outside, or there could be a foot of snow, okay, when it comes to being April 5th. So I'm not complaining, but hey, Latanya from Chicago. So I see it's probably really sunny in a lot of the places where you are too. I see a lot of people from Florida. Hey, Dee, hey, Trina, coming in from Florida. Jacqueline is representing Chi-Town, Chicago. The ATL is in the house with Morgan. All right, thank you so much. Come on in and join us. And I'm going to start off with a surprise. If you received any of the emails, you know that I mentioned I was going to give away a prize today. And guess what? That prize is going to the first person that came in to say hello. And that is Oshandra Hill. Oshandra was quick with the finger. She was ready today. And for that, you get my grant writing success kit, right? It's worth $497. And that is going to you for free. So, hey, let's give everybody, let's give Oshandra Hill a shout out. And Oshandra, I want you to make sure that you send me your email so that you can get that success kit. All right, so we are getting ready. What we're going to do is share our screen right now. So again, my name is Linda Peavy. I am the owner of LaPav Consulting. I'm going to be your host for today, where we're going to talk about how you get the bag, how you secure grants for your woman-owned business, whether or not you are a for-profit or a nonprofit. So the first thing we're going to do is look at like my 30-second TV commercial, which will just give you a little more information about who I am and what I do. And then we are off to the races. We're going to do some housekeeping, and then we're going to get started. All right. Come through. I always say, come through for me, technology. Come through for me. So let's go.
Hi, I'm Linda Peavy, owner of LaPav Consulting. My passion is to place your organization on the path to excellence. Are you struggling to communicate your message, reach target audiences, or secure funding? From marketing communications to grant writing, we achieve your goals. We've worked with high-profile clients and have secured $17 million in funding for charter schools and nonprofits. Call today to discuss what your success looks like and how LaPav Consulting can help.
All right, so that's just a little more information about me and my background. I want to make sure that everybody's in the right room, right? So this is grant writing for women-owned businesses, and if you have a woman-led nonprofit, okay, because this information is going to be important for both of those kinds of organizations. So just to do a little bit of housekeeping, I'm going to go fast because I have a lot of information to share with you. Don't be worried. Everything is being recorded, okay? We're being recorded. You will get a full replay for free, okay? More than likely, it'll be later on today, but you will get a replay of this webinar for free. So if your little fingers can't go fast enough, don't worry about it. You will get the replay, but I have a lot of information to share with you, and people who know me know that this is going to be a no fluff zone, okay? So again, I'm Linda Peavy. They call me the grants queen. Why? Because yes, I have secured over $17 million in funding for my clients. And you know that there is a difference, right, between writing a grant and getting the grant funding. And I've been blessed enough to be able to raise that amount of money for my clients. I have been writing grants for 15 years now, because this year is the 15th year of me owning my own company, LaPav Consulting, full time. And I've been writing grants for almost all of that time. I also write those requests for proposals for clients. I create scoring templates, right? And I also give grant writing workshops and development workshops all around the country for just different organizations. But I've also been the executive director of a nonprofit. So I want to know who's with me today. Are you a for-profit? Are you a nonprofit? Or what I'm finding is that a lot of for-profits are starting to open up nonprofits. So maybe you're both. So let me know in the chat, who's with me today? Are you a for-profit or a nonprofit or both? Okay, so just let me know in the chat who is with me today, for-profits, nonprofits, or maybe you're both. And I'm starting to see really a lot of both, because I think that's great that as a for-profit, you're beginning to really create these nonprofit organizations. So in the chat, let me know in the chat who's with me. All right, yep, for-profit, nonprofit, for-profit, both. I see some boths. Excellent, 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 excellent. So a little bit more about my journey to getting to the $17 million. I used to be a publishing executive in Pennsylvania. Oh my gosh, it's been over 15 years ago. And I got hurt. So I had to come home to Cleveland, Ohio, which is where I was born and raised. But I literally couldn't work. I literally came home in a wheelchair because I couldn't stand, I couldn't walk because I was injured. It took me 2 years to recuperate. And after the 2 years, I couldn't find any work, even though I had like 25 years of marketing experience, but it was all in publishing. And if you know anything about publishing at all, you know that Cleveland is not the publishing mecca of the country, right? So no jobs for me. So you know what? I started my own company, and this is year 15 of it. So I want to know in the chat, for those of you who have your own businesses, like, did you start because it was a dream of yours, like you've always wanted to start a business? Or like me, it was out of necessity, right? Because I like to eat and I like to have a roof over my head and I like to have my bills paid. So it was a necessity. So let me know, like, was it a dream? Was it a necessity like me? So let me know who's with me today. I've got some dreamers. I've got some dreamers out of necessity. You know how that is, right? Wanted to start up a dream. Yep. Rhonda has personal experience of cancer. I have those stories in my family too. So I get where you are. I lost my mother and my sister to cancer. So I feel you. I definitely feel you. All right. So a little bit more about that journey, right? So when I opened up my business, one of my first clients wanted me to be a contract executive director, right, of a nonprofit. And so I accepted the position, and literally within the first week, I was called into the board's office and I was told that I had to write a grant to save my job, literally to save my position that they had just hired me for. I didn't know anything about a grant. Like, I had no experience whatsoever in writing grants, but all of a sudden I needed to know not only how to write a grant, but a large enough grant that would pay for my salary. And you know what? I did it. I researched, I learned to write, and I truly understood the connection between using free money. You're going to hear that word all afternoon, free. I like to give you free information, utilizing free money, right, to be able to meet our mission, right? So why not use somebody else's money, to help you fund your organization? But it also taught me that there's a process to this, right? There is a process. And so that is what I'm going to teach you today, is this process and what that process looks like. All right. Gotta adjust my screen a little bit here. Okay, so there is this connection, right, between writing the grant and then getting the money. And it's so much more than just like downloading an application and completing it and filling it out, because too often that will get you that rejection. What I'm going to do is show you what you need to do, how you need to do it, so that you are submitting applications that are successful. So we're going to cover why this class is so important. We're going to talk about the 3 keys to funding, and then the philanthropic landscape that has completely changed. And really, it's why you're on this webinar. We're going to talk about that. Grant basics, right? How do you prepare to write? Where do you write? How do you write? How do you attract what I call the perfect funder? And then really, how do you get that application noticed? Because you're in a sea of competition, right? And then I'm going to tell you how to find your perfect funder. And don't go anywhere, because I have a bonus surprise for you at the end. We're going to do an in-depth Q&A, right? So as I go through this presentation, put your questions in the chat or the Q&A, because we're going to go through both, okay? The Q&A and even the chat. And then I'm going to give you a list of grant opportunities, right? For you as women, so you don't want to go anywhere. Why this class? Well, we know as women entrepreneurs and leaders of nonprofits, look, we need help. We need funding other than loans, right? I know some of you are like so tired of hearing about loans. We need free money, okay? However, grant writing is a skill and it can be very costly. So someone like me who is highly skilled, we charge anywhere between $100 to $200 an hour, okay? But you can learn this skill and place your position, whether your company in a position to get free grant money, right? Why pay a grant writer when you can tell the story yourself? And let me tell you, nobody can tell your story like you, all right? And hello, we're in a new age here of grant writing. No longer are you writing 200-page dissertations, okay? Literally, there was a grant, $25,000 grant from Barclay Bank just last month. They wanted 500 words, ladies, okay? So please don't think you have to write some soliloquy for a grant application. You don't. You can write grants in as little, trust me, as 2 hours. I was on some grant training yesterday where they were showing us how to use AI, right, to write a grant in an hour. So times are different. Please don't let the idea of writing a grant scare you, because times have changed, okay? You don't have to sit and spend months and months and months writing a grant. No. And you don't have to be a professional grant writer. You need to know the process, and that is what I am here to teach you. All right, so 2 different incidents completely changed the landscape of philanthropy. One was COVID-19, right? Before COVID-19, it was unheard of for a for-profit, right, to get grant money. What did you think about when you heard the word grant? You thought about nonprofits, right? Everything changed with COVID-19 because so many small businesses went under. We probably know someone who lost their business, right? And so foundations took notice and major corporations took notice, and they said, we have got to do something. You know, right? Or you should know that small businesses, we are the backbone of this country. And so foundations and major corporations said, we're going to start creating pools of grant money, free money, to give away to small businesses, especially those that are owned by women. And that's why now, and I've been doing this for 15 years, I have never seen the amount of free grant money available to you as a woman-owned business and a woman-led nonprofit, right? Now, there's still some COVID-19 money available. So if you come across those grants, think about how COVID-19 affected you. Did you have to lay off workers? Did you have to close down? Did you have to completely shutter your doors? So there are some of those grants out there still available. We're going to talk about many, many more, all right? So the other incident was the George Floyd incident. When George Floyd was murdered on TV, right, in front of everybody. Once again, major corporations and foundations all across this country, they saw what we saw, and they said, we have got to do something about addressing racial injustice in this country. And what did they do? They used what they had at their disposal, cash, right? So they created grant opportunities for minority-owned organizations, right? Including women, right? Including women-owned organizations, Black-owned organizations, especially if you are a Black and woman-led organization. If you are involved in DEI with diversity, equity, and inclusion, right? If you have any type of, whether it's a for-profit or nonprofit that addresses socially conscious causes, maybe it's the homeless, right? Maybe it's providing food, right? If there are food deserts that you're addressing, any type of socially conscious causes, if you're addressing racial injustice, or if you're just a Black-owned organization or a woman-led organization, this money is available, right? Because of what happened with George Floyd and the desire of corporations and foundations to do something about what they had witnessed. So everything's different now. I'm going to go through a few grant basics for you. What you need to know about grants is that grants are not paid back. Okay, they're not paid back. Now, I'm just speaking to nonprofits right now, just for a second. So for all of you nonprofits, hear me out. You need your 501c3 in order to get grant funding. Foundations do not want to deal with you if you do not have your 501c3. They do not want to deal with the fiscal agent. They want to give money to you. What is the 501c3? That is your tax-exempt charitable organization designation by the IRS. What does it mean? It means you're tax-exempt. You don't pay taxes. And it means that people that are donating to you can write off those donations as charitable deductions, right? Now, what is a fiscal agent? A fiscal agent is a nonprofit that has their 501c3, and you're literally asking them to get grant money on your behalf. So if a foundation just so happens to give you grant money, it is rare. The money goes to the fiscal agent, and then the fiscal agent gives the money to you. Well, foundations don't want to go through those third-party entities, right? If I'm giving you money based on your program, I want it to go directly to you. I don't want it to go through anybody else's hands, okay? So the good news for you is that it used to take the IRS literally 3 to 6 months to process 501c3 applications. Now it's 6 to 8 weeks. So whatever you do while you are preparing to write grants, please get your 501c3, okay? Yes, everything's being recorded. Don't worry about it, because I'm going to go through here swiftly. Everything's recorded. You'll get the recording. Don't worry. All right. So ladies, look at this slide here. People thought that because we were in a pandemic that giving was down. No, giving increases during times of difficulty. In 2021, this is just from foundation giving, $90.88 billion available. And guess what? The 2022 number is going to be even higher when it comes out. $90.88 billion. What could you do with just a little bit of that money? Ladies, we're not trying to be greedy, right? We're not asking for the whole $90 billion. We just need a little bit of the $90 billion. So I want you to put into the chat, I just need a little bit, right? Into the chat, I just need a little bit. Can you imagine what you could do with your organization with just a little bit of $90 billion? Who you could hire, how you could expand, how you could, that's what I'm talking about. Mikhail and Maya and it's Teresha and Sherry, Morgan. We don't need a lot. We're not trying to be greedy, Trina, right? We're not trying to be, we don't want it all, Chandra. We just want a little bit. Sabrina, Mika, is it Rolisa? Oh, I hope I said that right. Just a little bit, right? Nobody's trying to be greedy. We don't need all of it. We just need a little slice of the pie. Okay, so now we're on to how do you prepare to write grants, right? I always ask everybody, just hone up on your writing skills a bit, because I don't want you submitting applications with grammatical errors. Look, I'm a professional writer. I'm a professional editor. I use Grammarly, which is phenomenal, right? And so now Grammarly also includes even more powerful AI, artificial intelligence tools, right? Grammarly is fantastic. So it is a software editing program. It will make you a better writer. And so this particular article, this is your homework. I'm going to be giving you tea all afternoon. This is the first cup of tea. Improve writing skills dramatically by doing these 15 things. It will help you become a better writer. Just do any of you use Grammarly? If you do, give yourself a shout out. And it's free. It's free. Okay. It is a free software editing tool. So make sure, more homework, that you download Grammarly onto your computer so that you can become a better writer. Okay, how else are we preparing to write grants? I don't want you to just download that application and fill it off. and send it off because you're going to get a rejection letter. You have to prepare to write grants. You need to get your documentation in order. Yes, Keisha uses Grammarly. Tanya, isn't Grammarly like wonderful? I mean, it is incredible. It really is. And Ruby uses it. Oh, and your school, Aisha, is it Aisha? Your school requires that you use it. Wow, excellent. So these are the documents, right? You need your employer identification number. Nonprofits only, you need your 501c3. Now, for you for-profits, this is very important. You need to make sure that you are legally able to do business in your state. Now, I'm in Ohio. Ohio requires a business license, right? Not every state does. I was giving my webinar literally a couple of months ago, and a young lady said, Linda, this is so on point. I was applying for a grant. The competition was stiff. I was the only person to get the grant. Why? Because I had my state license. I had my business license, right? You're going to go to your Secretary of State's website and find out whether or not, as a for-profit, you need a business license, right, to do business in your state. So if you're in one of those states that requires one, like mine in Ohio, you need to make sure you have your business license. Okay, what else do you need? Your board of directors, a list of your staff. Letters of support become important because these individuals or organizations are going to be able to give you support in the form of letting that funder know that, yes, I believe in what this organization is doing and her mission statement or his mission statement, and therefore I'm providing this letter of support. Who do you get letters from? It could be your church, your pastor, community leaders, politicians, your vendors, but start getting those letters soon so that by the time you're ready to apply, you have your letters already, okay? Some applications require an audited financial statement. If they do, you will need your CPA to complete it. Now, the current operating budget becomes important because even as a startup, and I know some of you are startups, you may be thinking, why do I need a budget? I'm just starting up. You need a budget too. Why? Because you've got to know how much this is going to cost you. Whether you're starting up a nonprofit or for-profit, you have to know your numbers. How much is this going to cost? And when you create that budget and you look at those line items, right, where you see gaps is where you're going to be asking for grant funding. So let's say you want to open up a store. You have money for the lease. You have money to hire employees, but maybe once you create that budget, you realize, oh my gosh, I didn't think about marketing. I need marketing. Okay, I need to write a grant for marketing. So make sure you create an operating budget even as a new startup organization. All right, now, list of other funding sources. This is important. Why? Because no foundation wants to be the only organization giving you funding. Okay, they don't want that pressure because no grant is guaranteed in year 2. So if you don't get grant money in year 2 from them, they don't want the responsibility of knowing that they shut you down, right? So if you have any other funding sources, put them on the grant application. It could be other grants, right? It could be sponsorships. It could even be in-kind donations, right? It could be people that are volunteering, right? Their time and service to you. So make sure you include that on the grant application. All right, so now we're going to talk about the typical grant components. What do you write? And so I'm going to do the list, and then I'm going to discuss each one individually. We've got the summary, the mission and vision, history, your leadership, describing the organization, your statement of need, describing your program or your project or your service. You could have a service organization, your community partnerships, your results, which are your outputs, your outcomes, and your impact, your staff, your board, your budget, and I love this one, sustainability. Now we're off to the races. Okay, make sure you put those questions in the Q&A and into the chat. The summary, what do you need to know? It is the first component of the grant application, but you always, always, always write it last, right? Because you're going to include the most compelling components of that application into the summary. So don't be fooled, don't be tricked, okay? You're going to see it first. You always write it last. Your mission, vision, all of you should have a mission statement, every one of you. But do you have a vision statement? You're going to be asked for one on the grant application. What is it? Well, is what you would like to have happen in the future if you are obtaining your mission statement, right? So this is more homework. If you don't have a vision statement, create a vision statement. What is the mission statement? Well, that's what you're doing now. Your aims, right? Your goals. Why is it important? Because this is how you find your funder, the person that, or the organization that's going to give you money. You need to align your mission with the mission of that funder. So if you are focused on K through 12 education, you want to make sure that the foundation or the funder also has a mission that wants to uplift and uphold K through 12 education. All right, so more homework for you. All right, history. Now, what you need to know is that every organization has a history, even if you are new in a startup. Okay, I'll give you an example. There was a retired principal, right? She was teaching and leading high schools. And so she retired and wanted to start a tutoring organization, right? Well, she started that organization because when she was a principal, she realized that those kids in grades 9 through 12, they were not achieving proficiency levels in math or reading. So she created a tutoring organization, a for-profit, right? So that she could go back into the schools and help teach those students reading and math. So even though it's a new organization, what was her impetus for starting it? Well, it was her experiences in that high school in leading grades 9 through 12. So your history also should include your impetus. What was the cause of you starting your organization? So just because you're new, don't ever think you don't have a history. Next, leadership. That includes like your CEO, your COO, and your board. Your board is always a part of your leadership. Next, you're just describing your organization. Here you are really lifting up your impact. How have you changed the lives of people who you serve, right? What has been your track record of working with whatever your target population is, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. Talk about your success rate, your success factors. You need that data. Okay, how many people have you impacted, right? Next, the statement of need. And this is what you need to know. There is always a problem. In your statement of need, you are going to be asked, what issue are you addressing? And you always have to look at it from the vantage point of you resolving a problem. And it could be literally, I love the example of the bakery that wants to locate in a downtown community. And you might be thinking, look, she's making cakes and cupcakes. What problem is she resolving? Well, maybe she's a vegan bakery, right? Maybe she's resolving the issue of the fact that people who are vegans, they want tasty treats too, okay? Maybe she's resolving the issue of the fact that in that particular location where she's moving, there have been other failed businesses. So she is going to be contributing to the economic development of that particular neighborhood, right? Maybe she is addressing the fact that the businesses that surround the location, they don't have a great caterer, right, for baked goods. So always think about what you're doing in the form of resolving an issue. Let's say you have a service industry, you look at career development services, right? You have people who maybe they've been fired or they have just quit, and you're helping them determine what their next move is, right? Do they want to go back to a 9-to-5, or maybe they want to become an entrepreneur? What issue are you resolving? But that's a lot of talent that's not in the job market, right? And there's a lot of talent that person has that's not being utilized. Always look at what you do. It doesn't matter what it is, as how you are addressing an issue, because that is what is going to get your application notice every time, right? Are you connecting whatever that issue is with your funders' areas of interest? Because now we're trying to connect you with the right funder. So if you are focused on K through 12 education, make sure that the funder also has an area of interest that is K through 12 education. And that's how you match yourself up with an organization that's going to give you funding. So how do you find out information about the funders? Well, 90% of foundations do not have a website. I'm going to say that again, right? 90% of foundations do not have a website. So how do you get information about them? Well, this is your next cup of tea. You want to look at the 990 form. So the 990 form is a tax form that foundations have to submit. And it is a gold mine of information. It's going to give you leadership information about the organization. But if you scroll to the back of the 990, there's going to be a list of other organizations that they have donated to. So you're going to be looking for similar organization as yours. So If you have an equestrian program where you use horses to help heal veterans, you're going to look to see if there's any other pet-related organizations that they fund. And if there are, you may know, okay, that's an organization that I might want to seek. How do you get the 990? There's plenty of websites where you have to pay, pay to get access to 990s. But remember I said, I like the word free. So I'm going to give you free access to 990s. I want you to download this URL, and thank you. Irene is supporting me this morning, my tech person, projects.propublica.org/nonprofits. Go to this website. It will give you the 990 of any organization that has filed, a 990. So you will have free access to that information, okay? While I take a sip. Next, let me make sure that was the right one. Yeah. Target population. Now, who are you helping? And here's the biggest issue I hear. I help everybody. I just want to help everybody. No. You cannot help everybody. You need to look at who is best served by your product or your service, okay? Who is best served by your product or your service? You cannot help everybody. You have to niche down, and there's an old saying that's called there's riches and niches, right? Because that's where your money is. Think about who it is that you serve and who would best be helped and benefited by your program or your project. Maybe it's gender. Maybe you work with women. Maybe it's ethnicity. Maybe your program is for African Americans. Maybe it's income. Maybe you work with those who live below the federal poverty line. Maybe it's age, okay? Maybe your program is for senior citizens, or maybe you have a daycare center where it's children under 5. I love the census to get information on demographics, right? Because they're incredible. For example, if you're a daycare, you want to know how many children are under the age of 5 in your community where you're thinking about opening, right? The census will give you that information. So more information for you that is free. Don't sleep on the census. So we're going to drop that link into the chat. All right, a little bit more tea for you. Don't sleep on the census, okay? Now, we're talking about telling your story, right? Because at the end of the day, you are selling your organization to this foundation or this funder. Now, what I want you to remember, okay? Do not make yourself the hero of that grant application. No, you're not the hero. The hero is your target population. They need to always remain the focus and the center of the story. Why? Because that's where the transformation takes place. So think about those high school kids that now have tutoring. Maybe they can graduate from high school and go to college or join the armed services or get a trade, right? Maybe you provide information so that the homeless can know where to find shelter. Once that person finds shelter, maybe they can go back to school. Maybe they can get a job. The transformation occurs with whom you are helping. So that's why you always keep whom you are serving at the center of that grant application, okay? Now, once again, we're telling a story, right? You're talking about how you've changed lives, right? How you have brought about different outcomes. The best way to do this is to use real examples and testimonials and case studies. And the best way to do that is using video, okay? It can be so easy, so simple, and so free, okay? Literally, you can have your customers use their phone. Everybody knows I'm an Android girl. But if you have that little iPhone, you can just have them literally talk in that phone for 30 seconds to a minute to tell them this is like the best cupcake I've ever tasted in my life, or this person really changed my life in terms of being able to give me direction in my career. Every one of you should have a video of testimonials on your homepage of your website. And speaking of websites, people, do not think that you don't need a website if you are seeking grant funding. One of the first places a foundation will go to in finding out more information about you is your website, okay? You need a website, and it doesn't have to be costly. I hear, oh my gosh, outrageous amounts that people want to charge to build a website. It can be simple. It can be extremely budget friendly. If you need a website, I happen to love my website developer. She's been designing and developing, and there's a difference between a designer and a developer. My web developer happens to be both. She's been doing it for 25 years. She's extremely affordable. So if you need a website that is affordable and great and will tell your story, drop your email into the chat and I will send your information to my web designer. But yes, a Facebook page won't do. You need a website, okay? And put up those videos. They should be absolutely on that homepage, okay? So stop sleeping on videos, okay? Videos, they're the best way to showcase your testimonials. Now, you have a decision to make. Are you going to be asking for operating or program project money? Here's the difference. When you ask for operating dollars, you decide, okay, where you put the funding. It could be towards your rent. It could be towards personnel. Okay, you decide. Or maybe you have a particular program. That restaurant, she wants to start a delivery service. So that's her special project. All right. So here's what you need to know. You should always, always, always be applying for both. Okay. Never just apply to one foundation for grant money. You should be applying to multiple foundations, even for the same project, right? So let's say you need $10,000 to hire a contract worker. You need to be applying to Foundation A and Foundation B, right? Each one for $10,000, right? What if you get both, right? What if you get $20,000? Well, what you're not going to do is give the money back. We don't give grant money back, okay? What you can do is say, okay, now that I have $20,000, instead of maybe paying for 20 hours, we're going to pay for 40 hours for this person. Maybe we can now hire 2 contract people. Okay, please, please, please always be applying to multiple foundations for what you need. Okay, and you can apply to Foundation A for operating money and Foundation B for program project money. You just can't apply for both from one foundation. Like you have to decide it either is going to be operating or program project, but always, always apply to multiple foundations. Okay. Now, next, you're going to describe your project or your service, whatever it is. This is where you're talking about your track record, right? If it's something new, you have to talk about why you think it will be successful, right? Well, whatever you do, you should be talking about how you are resolving an issue. Okay. Now, community partnerships are so important. They are going to be on almost any grant application you see. Why? Because nobody expects you to work and operate in a silo. You need to be able to be working with other organizations to move your organization forward, right? And there doesn't always have to be an exchange of money. Too many for-profits think, oh, I don't want to give away my money. No, there doesn't have to be an exchange of money financially. Think about that bakery. She's in partnership with an event planner, right? So she's providing flyers to the event planner. The event planner is using her services, but also recommending her to her customers, right? What can they look like? They can be universities that you can partner with, other women's businesses, right? Greek organizations. I'll give you an example why this becomes so important. I was working on a grant years ago for an elementary school. They wanted to teach their 3rd grade class the violin. And this was a urban school, and they wanted to teach their 3rd graders the violin. We were working with the Cleveland Orchestra, clearly one of the greatest orchestras in the world. Their employees were going to come after school and teach these 3rd graders the violin. Can you imagine how that looks on a grant application? That small school is partnering with this renowned organization, right? So please, it is so important that you think about how you can collaborate and work with community organizations. Now, we're talking about results. You're asking for grant money. How do you show what your results are going to be on that grant application? You're going to forecast, and I don't want you to be scared of the word forecasting, because all you're doing is talking about your future results, what you expect your future results to be, right? So you're going to talk about your outputs. So if I'm looking for $20,000, I'm going to write in an application. This is what's going to happen, right? If you give me $20,000 immediately, this is what will happen. Well, outcomes, they happen about 6 months to a year down the road, but they are a result of those outputs. And then you have your impact, right? The impact happens sometimes a year down the road, 2 years down the road, right? And so I'm going to give you an example of how this looks. So a daycare center, right? A daycare center wanted $20,000 to open, right? And they're writing in this application, okay, if you give us $20,000, this is our output. We've done the research. We're going to open this daycare center and serve 100 families and 250 children, right? Now, because we chose the right location and you gave us this money to open, 6 months down the road, our capacity is going to grow by 40%, and we're going to add 24/7 services, right? Excuse me, we're going to be open all day. Now, as a result of us growing by 40% and adding 24/7 services, this is going to be our impact. A year to 2 years down the road, right? We're going to be able to prove that 25% of our families experience less stress. Why? Because they can drop their kids off 24/7, right? When you experience less stress, 65% of children will demonstrate improved behavior that come through our program because we have an excellent educational program. And in a year to 2 years, we're going to expand to 2 locations, right? So this is how you talk about the outputs, outcomes, impact. And some applications will only ask you for one, but other applications will ask you for all 3. So that's why I like to talk about all 3 so that you're prepared. Next, you need to set your goals, but you need to set SMART goals, right? Not just regular goals. So I'll give you an example of how we change a goal to a SMART goal. What are SMART goals? They're specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. Some of you, I know, have heard of this term. Now, what is my goal? I have a program. I want to reduce the poverty rate in Cleveland. That's my goal, right? That is a massive goal. It's too huge. It's too large. It's like, how do you measure that? A SMART goal would be, I want to reduce the poverty rate by 5% in Cleveland for Hispanic children, right? Under the age of 5, within a 5-year time frame. How did I change that goal to a SMART goal? I included data and statistics, okay? Also, you need to talk about what tools am I going to use to prove that my program or my service is working. I love surveys. SurveyMonkey, JotForm. I love surveys. You can survey your clients. The restaurant would provide a survey to find out whether or not people are really loving the delivery service, right? You need to be able to survey your clients or reports or that particular principal. She can use the data, right, of the students before and after they took their math and reading assessments, right? Before and after they started the tutoring program to find out whether or not there was an increase in their proficiency levels, right? So think about your goals, okay? Right, Mikhail, exactly, right. So if you have a goal that says, I want to reduce the poverty rate in Cleveland, right, it's too wide open for interpretation. Like, what does that mean? That's why you have to be specific, right? You have to be specific. Now, what else do you want to include? Your staff. So for those of you who are especially for-profits, you probably have not updated your resume or your bio in years. You will need an updated bio and resume. You will need also to include the bio and resume of anybody that will have a key position in your project or in your company. Why? Because it's all about accountability. Foundations and funders want to know who you're putting in charge of these particular programs and are they qualified? Okay. Next, budget. What you need to know about the budget is that they have to be itemized, right? Budgets have to be itemized. If you're asking for $50,000 for an executive director, you don't just put 50 grand, right? Like, I need $50,000 for an ED. You have to put, okay, I need $50,000. It's going to pay for 6 months for an executive director. And it's a contract executive director, because if it's a W-2 employee, what do you need? You're definitely going to have to put in items like benefits, like, your health care. So be specific, right? Itemize those amounts that you're asking for. Where do you itemize? In the budget narrative. So in the budget, you're putting your numbers right, but then you're being specific once you get to the budget narrative. And that becomes important because you have to talk about how you're using the funding, right? So I love this question of sustainability. I said to you before that just because you get a grant in year one does not mean you're going to get grant money in year two. Grants are not guaranteed. So you have to literally write in that application, if I don't get grant money in year two, how am I still going to sustain my operations or my program, right? Well, I'm going to do a little activity really quickly. Think about that high school. They got the $20,000 for the tutoring program in year one. They literally have to write in that grant application, well, if we don't get the grant money in year two, this is how we are going to still sustain our tutoring program. In other words, I want you to put into the chat ways in which a high school could write in a grant application. This is how we're going to come up with $20,000 in year two if we don't get the grant money to sustain our tutoring program. So think about this, right? This is a high school. What are some of the ways? Put into the chat some ways in which a high school, exactly, is it Katia or Keisha? I probably just butchered that name. Fundraisers, exactly, fundraisers. How about a car wash, right? What about a talent show? What about selling merchandise, right? High school merchandise, right? What about a bake sale, right? A talent show. I should write a talent show. Katie Anna Bakes, right? Maya concerts, absolutely. For concerts for the children, right? That's been through the program, absolutely, right? So you have to think about ways in which you're going to put into that grant application how you are going to still survive beyond the grant period, okay? So next, if you take nothing else away from this webinar, please hear me out. Whatever you do, you have to meet with the funder first. This is critical. Now, I've been in too many meetings where the foundation leader, I've heard them say the foundation director, the program director, if I get a slew of applications, that person has not called me, has not emailed me, has not addressed me, that application might go into the garbage, okay? Now, not all foundations do that, okay? But you want to do your due diligence and meet with the funder. I've set up so many meetings and I can give you testimonials from just the last 2 months. Last month, set up a meeting with the funder. The funder didn't even know my client, had never heard of my client, right? But those missions matched, okay? After 30 minutes, he walked away with $30,000, okay? A $30,000 grant. About 8 weeks ago, I did the same thing, set up a meeting with the funder. The funder had never heard of this organization. And after a 30-minute meeting, not only did they get a $30,000 grant, they got guaranteed for an additional $30,000 a year, right? Until who knows, right? Meet with the funder. And they don't have to be in-person meetings. It could be a 30-minute Zoom session. In that meeting, right, you're developing a relationship because you're going to learn information about that grant that is not on the website. And if they like you, they will literally tell you what to put in the grant application so that they can approve it. They're going to get information from you about your organization that they would never be able to read from your website, right? Your relationship building. So it is critical to meet with the funder. Also, these are just some do's. Time management, trust me when I tell you, if the deadline is 4:59 p.m. and you submit that application at 5 o'clock, you are going to have a bad day, okay? Because it is going to be rejected. So please adhere to timelines, address every question. If you are using an online portal and a question doesn't pertain to you, don't leave it blank, just put NA, because if you leave it blank, it might be rejected from the software as being incomplete. So try not to leave any question blank on an application. If it doesn't pertain to you, NA. Right? And last but not least, you have to have a mindset of winning. You cannot go into seeking grants and seeking funding from foundation leaders thinking, oh my gosh, there's no way I'm going to, no, I'm not going to get this money. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not going to get this money. It's not, no. People that look just like you and me, women, we saw the money. We saw the money, $90 billion. Women-owned organizations are getting grant money, free grant money, every single day. For-profit organizations, women-owned for-profit organizations are getting grant money every single day. So please go into this with a positive mindset, because it's going to be important. All right. It's going to be important. These are some don'ts. Don't use cookie cutter answers. I love a good template, but don't think you're going to copy and paste from one application into like 20 other applications, because every application is a little different. Now, don't ask for too much money when you approach a funder for the first time. Now, most grants will give you the amount, $5,000, $10,000, but community foundations especially are great at not telling you the amount to ask for. When you go in for the first time, be conservative, ask for anywhere between $5,000 to $25,000 for the first time. And then whatever you do not forget to edit. As we mentioned before, we love Grammarly. Now, I talked to you about the importance of meeting with the funder, right? How do you do that? You need a letter of introduction. You're going to write this letter of intro. In that letter, you're going to describe your organization. You're going to talk about your need, how you're addressing an issue, the target population. You're going to align those mission statements. You're not going to ask for money. That's not the purpose of this letter. This letter is to meet with the funder, okay? But you may have received the name of the program director, right? Maybe you got it from the 990. Do you have the right email address? Because what I don't want you to do is send that letter to like info@abcfoundation.org, because it's going to go somewhere off into the hemisphere and it's probably not going to come back. How do you get the email address? Well, ladies, I've been giving you tea all afternoon. This is the teapot, okay? This particular portal, this website is like the best thing since sliced bread. Getemail.io, okay? That's going to be dropped into the link, getemail.io, all right? This email portal, this company will give you the email address of just about anybody in the world that belongs to an organization or a company. I use it all the time. I've gotten emails from people in Italy and Germany, you name it, right? So you need to be able to use this, and it is free for like maybe the first, I think they give you 10 to 15 emails for free. Use them wisely. After that, it's about maybe $60 a month, but oh my gosh, I cannot tell you how many emails I've been able to receive so that I know exactly whom I'm sending information to. So getemail.io is going to be such a resource for you. Now, how do you find the grants? This is where we're talking about now. How do you find the grants? Foundation Directing Online is like the leading source of information in the US. They will give you the names of foundations, okay? They're about $50 a month. If you don't have $50, go to your local library. More than likely, they will have a portal for you that you can access the foundation directory for free. Instrumental is about $200 a month. Pretty pricey. They give you the $990 and the grant opening and the funder, grants.gov. We know that's the largest source of federal grants. The Lilly Foundation, largest funder of religious organizations, right? So if you're faith-based or church, there's money for you. Grantgopher.com, if you have an educational program. Grant Watch, I love because they have a lot of last minute grants. Grant Station, they have a lot of grant openings and trainings. And then if you are Black owned, urbanawarenessusa.org, that's a Black owned organization. And they have tons of info on grants for minority organizations. Now, this is how you find your funders. This happens to be the homepage of Grant Watch. And you see how you can put all these variables in, your type of criteria. Look to the left here. You can put in the type of business right there in the middle, nonprofit business or individual. Do you want a federal fund or a foundation grant, right? Who's your target population, right? What is the subject area? Are you looking locally and nationally? And for those of you who just like to seek those national grants, please don't overlook your local community foundations and your local money. It's easier to get. And then once you start obtaining the local funding, sometimes it's easier to get the national funding. So you put all this information into the portal and you push a button and up pops literally a list of available grant opportunities. And Grant Watch is about $20 a week, right? So I told you I was going to give you a list of actual grants. So these are grants that you can apply for. If you are a for-profit woman-owned business, you have to sign up for helloalice.com because they are now the largest portal that provides information on funding for women-owned small businesses. Facebook has a grant, Amber Grants for Women. They give away $10,000 a month. National Association for the Self-Employed, they have growth grants. This Fearless Fund MasterCard grant, that's for women of color business owners, they're open right now. This grant application just opened April 1st. Visa has a grant. FedEx, if you have a wellness program or a sports program for women or girls, women's sports, Grants for Women, that's a great organization. They're going to list a ton of grant opportunities for women. If maybe you don't want a grant, maybe you want an investor, right? Well, 37angels.com is a list of female angel investors. All they do is invest in women-owned small businesses up to $150,000, right? I also want you to go to that portal because they have a list right now of funding for female founders, okay? I Fund Women Cartier. I saw some questions in there about startups. Yes, there's money for you. If you are a startup, InStyle has a grant just for startups, right? Now, I also want you to be able to network and apply to different organizations that you can work with. I don't know if anybody from Facebook's Women Helping Women Entrepreneurs are on the webinar. If you are, give yourself a shout out. I belong to that group. It's a group of over 660,000 women entrepreneurs, 660,000. It's free to join. Go in there and join, okay? I'm a member of the Cleveland chapter of the National Association of Women Business Owners, but there's so many different organizations that you can join. You'll get the list so that you can see. And I'm rounding everything up, but what I want you to do, I want you to put into the chat right now, when you think of banks and money, what do you think about? Banks and money into the chat. Hey, Trina is with Women Helping Women Entrepreneurs. Hey, Trina. Oh, hard credit hit. Loans. Did you know that banks are some of the largest providers of grants? Not loans, grants. You haven't been talking to the right person, right? It's not going to be your branch manager. They're going to try to sell you a loan. It's not going to be your loan officer. You need to talk to the vice president, usually of like community reinvestment or community relationships or community development. Your vice president, make sure it's a bank that has like a great footprint in your area where you see a lot of the local bank branches. And a young lady was on my webinar, and late last year, she took my advice. She went to her bank. She applied for a $2.3 million grant. So yes, banks are some of the largest providers of grants. So don't go anywhere. We're going to do an in-depth Q&A, but I told you before that I had a surprise for you. I've been writing grants for 15 years. And because there is so much money available, I'm thinking I can only help so many people if I write one grant at a time. So what did I do? I started a grant writing course, and it's so easy, right? Because I took all of my knowledge of being able to secure $17 million, right, in grants, and I created this course because I wanted to give you literally a proven step-by-step path to funding for you, because I want you to be able to get $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 or more, right, to either start your organization or to operate, and how about to grow and expand. I get questions all the time. Linda, is there a grant for fill in the blank? You will no longer have to even ask that question, right? Let me tell you, there's almost a grant for anything, right? There's a grant for almost anything that you do. It's about finding the right funder, right? And so I give you the right ways, right? Only you're going to do it better and faster than doing it alone, because I believe in working in communities, because I hear too many horror stories about people being taken, right, from somebody saying that they're a grant writer, and they're saying, give me $50 and I'll write you 3 grants, and they never hear from the person again. And that's a crazy amount anyway to pay for 3 grants. So you know it's a scam. I want you to be able to learn how to do this yourself, because as I mentioned before, 2 to 3 pages, 500 words. I give you the best research techniques available. Yes, I teach you how to approach funders. Of course, I teach you how to write every part of the narrative. And yes, I'm going to give you real grant examples. And every example in this course are examples that I wrote and they won money. So you're getting 12 modules, 35 lessons. I know people learn differently, right? So I start each lesson off with an introductory video. And then I give you the lesson, I give you the task, and they're fun because you're writing about what you believe in and what you're passionate about. And yes, I give you a workbook that includes the entire course, right? And you know how important it is to have grant trackers, right? And grant planners, right? I give you all of that. And I'm doing what nobody else is doing. I guarantee you. I'm giving you a list of over 400 grant funders. I'm going to say that again. You get a list of over 400 grant funders. So you're ready to start getting this money. Okay. And unlike a lot of people who offer these courses and you buy the course and they disappear, I'm going to be here with you and serve as your coach. You will be admitted to my private Facebook group. And if anybody is in that Facebook group that's on this webinar, give yourself a shout out because that Facebook group is unbelievable. They help each other. If you need to have your grant application reviewed, or maybe you want to ask somebody a question, I'm in there all the time answering questions, okay? But if you want to have a piece of your grant application reviewed, come into the Facebook group and ask. Literally last week, this is how awesome this group is. They actually started a co-working group within the Facebook group. Like, these people are serious about getting money because you know the money is there. And I go one step further. I give you a free hour of group coaching every single month. 1 hour of free group coaching every single month with me, where we do a deep dive in your organization. Okay, so how much is it? Well, I've had the course audited 3 times now. The 12 modules and 35 lessons, they're worth $3,549. The videos alone, right, are worth $599. The list of funders are worth $500, right? The workbooks, the planners, the grant trackers are worth $350. But you know, I'm not going to ask you for what it's worth. It's been audited and it's worth $5,000. So that's why my regular price is $997. But for the month of April is $497. This is my birthday month. So it's $497, but you decided to spend this hour with me, you get 50% off, 50% off, right? That's one payment of $247 and that's it. So a lot of people think that has got to be a monthly payment. No, it is not. It is not a monthly payment. It's one payment of $247 and that's it, because I want you to get some of this money that's available in a safe community, in a safe environment, right? Of people who you trust and you can ask questions and they can help you. Even if you don't have the $247, a lot of people know I don't do this, but I'm breaking it down now. If you do want to make 2 payments, you can, of $137.50, 1 month for 2 months. And you know, some people drip their courses. You get everything. Even if you opt for the $137.50 payment that you make now, and then you pay another, you make another payment next month, you still get the whole course with the first $137.50. Now, if you want the one payment of $247, you have to use this code, right? You have to use the code because the course is $497. I'm giving it to you 50% off. So you have to use that code. It's only 50% off for 3 days though. But the course never expires. Look, we're entrepreneurs, right? We are busy. We lead busy lives. You may buy a course and say, I'm going to get to it next week, but that week turns into 2 weeks or a month. I understand this. That's why I don't put expiration dates on my courses, because we have lives, you know, that we lead. Look, you go through this course, you're ready to get grant money. And actually the bonus now, because I just added over 50 new funders for entrepreneurs, is over 450 grant providers. So this is everything you get. I didn't even talk about the letter of inquiry, right? Before the grant application, I give you winning grant examples. And it's self-paced. It's all online and it's self-paced. You go at your own pace. Yes, you will be admitted to the private Facebook group because I want to get you help. Okay. It's $247, one payment. Use the code. The 50% does expire on Saturday. Okay. Because you are getting 50%. Now, if you want to make the 2 payments of $137.50, you don't even need a discount, right? You don't even need a code. So this is the page that you're going to look at. If you want the one payment of $247, you hit $497, purchase, and then you input the code. If you want to make the 2 payments, you hit that little drop down arrow and it will take you to 2 payments times $137.50. And this is the order page. See on the left where it says have a coupon, you put in your coupon, it will immediately take off $250. Your course, one payment, this is not monthly, one payment of $247. Now, a lot of people take advantage of the Ask the Expert hour. That's an hour with me, you and me alone, one-on-one. We do a deep dive into your organization. It's a private consultation. It's normally $4.95 an hour. And if you buy it with the course, it's only $195 an hour. So a lot of people take advantage of that. But at the end of the day, you need to do this now. Why is it important that you start looking and getting grant money now? Because we're at April, right? We're the first part of April. There are organizations like Verizon and Walmart, when their money is exhausted, they tell you, please apply early. Because if you wait until July and August and September, their funds have been exhausted, right? So whatever you do, whether you buy this course or not, please don't be in the same position a month from now that you're in now. Move your organization forward. And yes, the course is tax deductible, right? Literally, I think this was a week ago, Christina took the course. I remember I told you how incredible the Facebook group is. I post information in the Facebook group all the time. I posted this opportunity for a $10,000 grant and a mentorship. She saw it, she took the course, she was in the Facebook group, she applied and she got the grant, right? She said, and she wanted to post to everybody so that they would know. She said, may I share that I'm so grateful for Linda. I would not have had the confidence to follow through on applying for grants if it wasn't for her grant writing course. The depth of information provided is unmatched in my experience. So yes, she got her very first grant. This can be you. Like, these are real women. These are real people, right? Getting this grant money because they take the course. And I always provide so much information on new grants. Kelly wrote a $75,000 grant for her colleague and then wrote additional grants for her. Jennifer, she just posted this again last week. She said, this is the best course I have taken. I grow each time, but this one has pushed me further. She's applying for her first grant in April. And Quintina, right? Quintina says that she definitely just got her first grant award letter. That was March 1st, right? She got her first grant award letter, right? So this is real. Like, this isn't a joke. These women are getting funds. Men are getting money. I told you literally within the last 2 months, 2 of my clients, one got the $30,000 grant, the other one got $30,000 and then a guarantee of another $30,000, right? So we're going to do the Q&A now. I'm stopping the sharing. And what we're going to do, I'm going to start with the Q&A. So the link is being dropped in the chat, right? The link to buy is being dropped in the chat. I hope that you invest this money in yourself, right? Because what I want you to do right now, everybody that's still left into the webinar chat, I'm ready to get grant money. Everybody into the chat. I want you to speak this into the universe. I want to get grant money. I am ready to get grant. That's what I'm talking about. Sabrina, I'm ready to get grant money. Morgan, Mikal, Sherry, I'm ready to get grant money. Maya, Tanya, Rhonda, Regina, I'm ready to get grant money. Speak it into the universe. There's no reason why you can't get this money. You see people that look just like you. These are real people. Like, this isn't anything I've made up. These people come to me saying, oh my gosh, Lynn, I'm getting money. This is working. Like, this is actually working. And you know, I've secured $17 million in grants. So I think I know a little bit about what I'm doing. So I want you to be able to invest in yourself. Please just don't be in the same place a month from now asking, like, where's this grant money? I found I heard there was some grant money, and like, how did she get grant money? Or how did that organization get grant money? You can get grant money, okay? I'm going to go to the Q&A, all right. What do you do? What if you do not have an LLC yet, but you will use the grant money to get that, okay? So the LLC is a limited liability corporation. So you're going to be a for-profit. So you would need to seek out startup funds. But I can tell you, it really is best to try to at least have your foundation set of what your organization is going to be, right? Are you going to be an LLC? Are you going to be a sole proprietor? What you can do is go to the SCORE organization, SCORE, SCORE. They will help you with the information that you need to get established, right? So even as a startup, right, you need to know what kind of organization you're going to be. So I recommend you get that done. Get whatever organization you're going to be. LLC is fine. And then move forward, but you can get free help at SCORE. Can you send us a sample grant won't writing? Okay, please rephrase that. Do you offer help with writing our business plan? So this course, I'm glad you asked that question about the business plan, because what you put in the business plan and what you get when you're taking the course and you're writing a grant proposal is almost identical. The one thing that's different, the business plan will require additional marketing, right? So that's what you'll need, additional marketing, okay? That's the main difference, but the course will help you to write your grant proposal, and the same information that you are writing, you put into your business plan. Like I said, the only thing that's really different is that you're going to need an additional marketing campaign when you write the business plan. So yes, I accept some clients where I write grant applications for some clients on a case-by-case basis, but I can tell you it's fairly pricey. Our fees start at $6,000, right? So I would advise you to pay $247, get the course and get the free help that I'm providing. I help you for free in the Facebook group. And then in the group coaching, I help you for free, right? As I mentioned before, this doesn't have to be scary. Okay, you get step-by-step instructions in the course. I've yet to apply for my 501c3. Is that a difficult process? So I think, okay, so the 501c3, I don't know that it's difficult, but you have questions to ask. I wouldn't say it's difficult. If you're looking for help to file your 501c3, send me an email, right? Because I have two 501c3 experts, and all they do is help organizations to get their 501c3. So send me an email. And speaking of emails, what I want to do, I want to make sure, oh, I didn't want to do that. I want to make sure that, let me go to the gallery. I want to be able to put into the chat. There we are. That's what I'm looking for. I'm going to put in my email address because I want you to put this email address on your safe senders list, because you're going to get the replay. People are asking about the replay. You're going to get the replay from one of these email addresses. So I want to make sure it doesn't go to your spam. So look into the chat now. Grant writing for grant. Okay, those two email addresses put into your safe senders list. So send me your email, and I will give you the names of two 501c3 experts that can help you get your 501c3. Okay. All right. More Q&A. Can you get a grant as a sole proprietor? Absolutely. Oh, thank you, Katie Ann. How soon after applying do we typically? Oh, excellent. Thank you. How soon after applying do we typically hear back? What is the average response time? I think you're talking about grants, right? Because if you buy the course, you're in immediately. Like, you're going to get 3 emails right away so that you can get signed into the course and that you can get started. Like, you don't wait for me. When you buy the course, you're off to the races, right? But every grant is different. So for a typical grant, it's going to be 2 to 3 months. Sometimes they will give you the grant deadline. Oftentimes, if it's a foundation, they have to wait until their board meets, which are typically 4 or 5 times a year. So I would say the average is about 2 to 3 months. However, if you need emergency funding, discretionary funding, you need money right away, your store is closing or you're about to go out of business, I would recommend you go to your nearest community foundation, because they have what's called discretionary funding, where they can give you funding immediately. When I say immediately, maybe in 3 weeks, right? Instead of the typical 2 to 2 to 3 month time frame. But that requires you doing what? Meeting with those people at that foundation, developing that relationship. You meet with the funder. But yes, typically 2 to 3 months. Yes, 2 to 3 months. 2 to 3 months. All right, that's it for the Q&A. I'm going over to the chat because I did see questions in the chat. Okay, I saw questions in the chat. And so I'm going to answer. So yes, it really is one payment. It is actually one payment. It's not per month. People are thinking it's per month. I know. My coaches tell me all the time, Linda, like that you should, of course, you should be asking the $9.97. And I know I should, but people who know me know I'm a woman of faith. I'm a woman of God. I consider myself to be a servant leader, and I am here to serve you and to help you because there are scammers out there. Anytime you're dealing with free money, they come out of the woodwork, and grants are free money, right? They come out of the woodwork. And I hear these horror stories almost daily now. Oh, decided to take what I love and find a way to make money. That is the best thing you can do, Jacqueline. Absolutely. Get your passion funded. Get your passion funded. All right. Oh, yes. I think that's Kimberly. You lost your mom and 2 sisters to cancer. I lost my mother and my sister to cancer. I literally will be burying my nephew next week. Okay. I know I saw some other questions. Okay. Should we just have a business plan to assist with the writing? If you have a business plan, it will assist you in writing because those documents can be the same. However, a lot of the questions that you will be asked, right? And a grant application, remember I said every grant application is different. If you have a business plan, use it as a foundation. But there are oftentimes ways in which they will ask you a grant question a little differently, right? That you'll need to be able to hopefully go through the course and answer the question based on the information that I'm providing to you, because I've seen thousands. I've written grant applications, right? People have hired me to write grant applications. So sometimes it's the language. They're looking for you to use certain language, right? That you don't have to use on a business plan. Can you send us a sample grant? So if you buy the course, there are a number of sample grants in the course. If you buy the course, you get sample grants. Make sure you drop, yep. Let's see. Okay, right. A lot of people need a website. Please get a website. Yep, I will absolutely give that information to my web designer. There are startup grants. Not only are there startup grants for profit. So in one of the slides, I gave you a link from 37 Angels. If you hit that link, it's going to send you to their website, and they list, I just scanned it, but there's probably 50 different funds for women, and most of them are for startup money, okay? So absolutely there are grants for startup for-profits. I do not give away copies of my PowerPoint presentation. So all of my information is copyrighted. You will get the replay. So you will have access to the whole presentation, right? So you can play it and you can do whatever you need to do to get the information, because you will have the replay. Okay. Yes, so I hope to see you in the Facebook group, right? So when you join, you get 3 emails. One is an email where you sign up and create your username and your password, because everything is online. Then you'll get an email with a welcome. Then you get another email with the Facebook link, right? Hit the Facebook link, because I will admit you into the Facebook group, because I'm telling you, that group is lit. Oh my gosh. I'm so proud. I'm so proud of my students. I think I answered the question about the business plan. Oh my gosh, Monica, yeah, you had a concern about the group being active. You won't have a concern about this group being active because literally last week they started their own sub working group. I mean, that's how serious these, look, my students are serious. They know the money is out there, right? They're trying to get money. Like they're trying to get money. Oh, okay. So I think that's Regina. Regina, send me an email. I will send you the $1 Million Grant Roadmap. So if you bought that $1 Million Grant Roadmap, I'm glad you reminded me. Oh my gosh, that's one of my favorite things I've ever created. It's 10 steps. Whatever you do, wherever you are, make sure you're always on one of those steps. So you buy the course, no matter where you are in that course, you always go back to that roadmap, right? That's the umbrella. That roadmap is the umbrella. Go back to that umbrella. Make sure you're on one of those little steps to get you grant money, right? And it's $2. The grant roadmap is $2, right? So send me your email and I will make sure that you get the grant roadmap if you weren't able to download it, okay? So for those of you who bought the grant roadmap, you're ahead of the curve. It's 10 steps, right? That you should always be on one of those steps towards getting money. Okay, so I answered that question. All right, let me see if there are any others. All right, okay. Oh, that's fine, Sherry. Oh yes, SCORE mentors. SCORE is fantastic. So if you really need help with starting your organization, SCORE, SCORE, SCORE. Sheila's saying their mentors are great, and I will be serving as a mentor for SCORE. Hopefully sometime later this year, because right now my schedule is crazy. But they've asked me to be a mentor. I just can't do it like right now. Sabrina, it depends on what your organization is. My problem is funding because I already have my EIN website. Great. So you have a good start. Perfect. You're ready to move forward. This course shows you step by step what you need to do. And that's what I need to talk to you about. It tells you step by step what you need to do. Okay. A sole proprietor absolutely can get grant money. Yes. Seed money. NSILE is providing the startup money, and then go to that website on the screen where I talk about 37 Angels, right? Go to that website because they have at least 50 organizations that specifically provide money to female founders. So I can't stress this enough. The money is available. Okay, I think, is it Dan? I can only see like the first 4 letters of your number, but it's Dan, D-A-N-D, and I'm sorry, I can't see the other ones. So you don't change an LLC into a nonprofit. That's not how that works. You have your LLC. You can start a nonprofit, right? Underneath the LLC. You don't change the LLC, but you can start a nonprofit, right? No problem. You get your 501c3. There are many for-profits that start nonprofits, right, underneath the LLC. So you can do that. You don't have to change the LLC into anything. You just create your nonprofit, right? You create the nonprofit. So you can do that. Absolutely, you can. But, you know, I can't really address your question because it may be possible. It may be easier for you to get money as a nonprofit. It could be, just based on what you're indicating, it could be. But something else I want to mention really quick as to the benefit of joining my community. I've been in business for 15 years, right? So when I go to the group coaching, oftentimes people are asking me questions that have nothing to do with grants, and that's okay, right? Because I'm here to help. For example, a young lady had literally invented a product. She got a patent for it, and she couldn't bring it to market. Well, I know Lisa Ascalise. I spoke for Lisa Ascalise last night, right, on, excuse me, her webinar. She's the QVC HSN Shark Tank Queen. Okay, she has many products on HSN and QVC, and she helps people bring their products to QVC and HSN, and she's a Shark Tank consultant. So I connected the young lady who took my course with Lisa, right? So that she could help her bring her product to QVC or HSN. So that's another reason why people join this community, because like I'm here to help you. So even if you ask me questions just about business in general or about like advice on what you should do in the group course, I help you. And then in your one-on-one, if you pay for a one-on-one, you can ask me anything if you pay for the one-on-one, just to give you guidance. People do that a lot. They pay for the one-on-one sessions a lot, just so that they can just sometimes just get guidance. Okay. So I need help completing the grant application as a startup entrepreneur. Does your plan offer an example of a completed grant application? For the trucking industry? No, not for the trucking industry, right? But I give you completed grant applications, and what you always have to do when you are asked a grant question is apply it to your industry and to what you're doing, right? So you have a question, you have a grant question, you have to then apply it to what you're doing. So that's the beauty of the Facebook group, is that if you buy the course, you have a question, you're completing a grant application, bring that question into the Facebook group, and we will help you answer it. We will literally help you talk about how you should answer that question, right? That's the level of help that you get. And it's free. You get it free when you buy the course. I don't pay for you to come into my Facebook group. I don't pay for the group coaching, none of it. Yes, Mika says she's been scammed before. Look, it is like, I hear the horror stories. I hear the horror stories. Thank you. I think that's Tamika and LaTanya. Thank you. Oh my gosh, George, you just opened a salon. Oh my goodness. You opened a cosmetology school. I helped a cosmetology school here in Ohio, in Cleveland. She had a school. Not only did she have salons, she had salons that were famous nationwide. People would come to Cleveland to have their hair done by her. And she opened up a cosmetology school, and I helped her get grant money from a bank, okay, from her local politician, right? And she's a for-profit. So as I mentioned, I rarely do grant writing, but the grant writing fees typically start at about $6,000. But we do that only on a case-by-case basis. Yes, Regina. Startup money is available. It sure is. Thank you, Monica. I hope to see you. I hope to see you in the Facebook group. Okay, so when you join, you're going to get 3 emails. One email will be your welcome. So you will need to create your username and your password. You'll get another email, and please look in your spam. Please look in your spam. You'll get another email with the link to the Facebook group, right? And then we admit you to the Facebook group. Oh, yes. That's such a good question. Okay. People are asking for the link to the $1 Million Grant Roadmap. Let me get that link for you. Let me get the link for you. I love I tell you, I do. I have to say, I love my $1 Million Grant Roadmap, and it's $2. Like, it's $2. And I do that because I want to help as many people as possible. I just do. And look, I know how it was when I first started my business. I didn't have a lot of money to invest in my business. Remember, I had been hurt. It took me 2 years to recuperate. So I know how it is. So I just try to have something for every budget. So I'm sorry I had to go around a little bit to get this, but this is the link to the $1 Million Grant Roadmap. All right. Can I pay half this week and pay the rest? Oh, so Ruby, just hit the 137.50, right? Just hit the 137.50. So the 497, there's a little drop down next to the 497, and it will bring up, it will say 2 payments time $137.50. You can make that payment, you can make the 137.50 now, and then next month you have a whole month, right? Because it's not going to charge you again for a whole month, right? So it will split those payments up for you. Oh, Regina, send me an email immediately. Send me an email immediately. They're probably in your spam. They're probably in your spam, but please send me an email. Yeah, what do we do after we have? Oh, yeah, send me an email. And then we will send you your link to get into the course. I want to make sure you can get into the course. Oh, and I will send you, send me an email, and then I will send you a direct invite to join the Facebook group. Okay, you'll get a direct invite to join the Facebook group. So that will happen literally right after we're done here, okay? All right, so I think that's it for the Q&A. Let me make sure there are no other questions. I think somebody dropped a couple of questions in the Q&A. Thank you. What's the difference between federal and foundation funding? Like that answer, it takes, that's a long answer. So federal funding comes from some federal organization, some federal group that's a part of the federal government. It could be any of the many different departments that are within the federal, within our government. They're government grants. They're usually larger, right? They're usually much larger. Those can be your $1 million grants, your $500,000 grants. The criteria is more difficult. The paperwork, be ready for it, right? It's a totally different animal. If I were you, that would not be the first thing I would pursue, right? I would start to get the foundation funding, which typically come from private foundations or corporate foundations, right? Or community foundations. So you get private, corporate, and community foundations. Those amounts tend to be lower, right? They're easier to get, right? They can be local or statewide or nationwide, right? But the federal funds are just from the government, okay? That's interesting, Jean. I would love to know what it is. So just send me a quick email and tell me what it is. Send me a quick email and tell me what it is, because that's probably something I can answer. As soon as you tell me what it is, I can probably give you an immediate answer. All right, so I think that's it, everybody. Oh, I hope to see you in the Facebook group, because look, we're getting money. We're getting money. We are getting money. We are getting money in the Facebook group. So please, and then the group coaching. So you will receive an email with my next monthly group coaching, right? But it's the course. The course tells you everything you need to know. I don't want you to be scared of grant writing, because literally you can write grants in a couple of hours now. You can do this. And people are doing it. All right. So thank you so much, everybody. Please I'm going to put my 2 emails in here again, because you're going to get the replay, and I don't want it to go to your spam. All right. And also I'm having another, okay, so those of you, I've got 39 people left with me. Just so you know, I'm having another live session tonight at 7. Put those 2 emails in your safe senders list. I have another live session at 7, and tomorrow at noon and 7, I am having a webinar that is just for Black-owned businesses and Black-led nonprofits. A lot of the information is the same, but I do have some new information. So if you have an interest in signing up, or knowing somebody that wants to sign up for the session tomorrow, I should put my HTTP in here. They can go to this site, writers. And they can sign up. Owners. Okay. So I just sent the link. Right? So if you know somebody that wants to sign up for the webinars tomorrow for Black owners and Black-led nonprofits, I have the link in there. I have another session tonight at 7 p.m. If you know anybody that wants to sign up tonight, they can. And I want to thank you so much. You decided to be with me for over an hour now. And I appreciate it. You could have been elsewhere, but I know you need help. I know you need funding. And I'm here to help you as much as I can. I hope you move forward, just forward progress. I asked you, don't be in the same situation a month from now. Do something that will move your organization forward. I hope you allow me the opportunity to really help you get the funding that you need. And again, thank you so much for joining. Look at the replay and have a blessed day and a blessed upcoming holiday season, Easter. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.